Ladies and gentlemen. So with the release of Thorns Altar in global server, and more new operators have been released in CN. Time to see all of the upcoming 6-star operators in Arknights. And see which one you should prioritize. If we follow CN schedule, the new 6 stars should be from a limited banner, from Arknights half anniversary event. Which should be released in July, or August. This event, as most already know, is the Exusiai Arc event. Which will feature you, as the new limited 6-star. With Blaze Altar as the featured standard 6-star beside him. You is our first 6-star primal defender. Also the first and the only one who specializes in burn damage. And without a doubt, he is currently the best burn damage enabler, like how Virtuosa is with Necrosis. He also has quite a powerful talent. In talent 1 he will get a damage reduction via Sanctuary effect, whenever he's blocking an enemy. And the enemy he blocked will also gradually take both arts and burn damage. With this it should be easy for him to clear the trash mob that he blocked. And it also provides burn build up when he's not using skills. In talent 2, if there's at least 3 other operators on the field, he will get passive healing and recover element build up. Very nice to have to recuperate during wave downtime. For his skills, all of his skills are quite amazing, especially when it comes to dealing burn damage. I see most people will either go with skill 2 or 3. But skill 1 is also a good skill to be used. It has a passive that will increase his aggro, which can be useful in some situations. Giving him some defensive buffs, and now the enemy who attacks him will get burn damage. For skill 2, it will give him some buffs, and thanks to that, it should also be easier for him to beat strong enemies, and build up burn damage. This skill also has a very unique ability. And that is teleporting enemies straight to his position. And lastly, skill 3 is mostly used to enhance other operators' offensive capability, especially arts damage dealers, by making use of burn damage. He will once again gain some buffs, and now applies his talent 2 to every operator. Though obviously the most noticeable thing about this skill is that firewall. And with it, any ranged attack that went through that fire will inflict burn damage. And there's also some chance for the enemy projectiles to be destroyed when passing through the firewall. Overall, with his strong and unique ability, plus other buffs that he might receive from his siblings, makes you a very worthy unit to get and build. Now for the standard 6-star that is introduced alongside him, we have Blaze Altar. Blaze Altar is our newest 6-star primal caster, after Logos and Nymph, period. And is the first one that specializes in burn damage. Who can deal massive elemental damage if the enemy is under burn burst effect. And can also inflict burn element build up on her own, albeit not really effective. So with her talent 1, Blaze will inflict element damage to all enemies who trigger burn burst effect. You can see the difference here, with Blaze on the field, the enemy takes additional element damage. For talent 2, if Blaze got hit by lethal damage, she won't retreat. But instead she will enter incapacitated state, and will gradually recover her HP. Once full, she will be active once again, and also stunning nearby enemies for a few seconds. But do keep in mind Blaze will get retreated if she received lethal damage while she is incapacitated. Luckily she will get some barrier to increase her survivability. For skills, her skill 1 is her AFK skill. Blaze will create a burning field to an operator with the highest max HP with her range. And every enemy who goes inside will gradually take arts damage, and some burn damage. Meanwhile, skill 2 is basically Fire Whistle skill on steroids. This skill will change her attack range, reducing her attack interval, and losing HP every time she attacks. but also gaining some buffs in return. And now every time Blaze attacks with this skill, she will leave a burning area on her target position, and enemies inside it will get their movement speed reduced, arts damage, and some burn damage. Lastly, her skill 3 is an ammo type skill. She will change her range, gaining some buffs, and her attack is now AoE. With this skill she can deal a good amount of arts damage that can easily take down most elite enemies. But the highest damage potential you can get from this skill is when Blaze is attacking someone and a burn burst effect, because she will change her damage type from arts to elemental, and she will absolutely shred the target's HP. But the problem here is that unlike her other skills, Blaze cannot inflict burn on her own. So you will need to use other operators to trigger the burn burst effect. And right now your best choice is you, which conveniently is introduced alongside her. Overall, I think whether or not you should get Blaze Alter depends on whether you have this guy or not. Because Blaze's full damage potential will only be unlocked if she has a burn enabler as a partner. And currently the best choice is still you. Of course there's also a budget option like bobbing. Or maybe borrowing this guy from a friend if you want. Okay, after this limited banner, we will have Entelechia, Iblana and Monster before the next limited banner. So if you're the kind of person who only pulls on limited banners, consider yourself lucky. That's a lot of free resources. Of course, that is if they don't switch the events around in the global server. Anyways, after you and Blaze, we will have Entelechia as our new 6-star Reaper Guard. The mysterious vampire we first see in Siege Altar event. When compared to Executor Altar, she emphasizes her survival more. This can be seen from her talent. In Talent 1, she can steal enemies' max HP, making theirs lower and hers bigger, while also causing arts damage to them. And in Talent 2, she basically can cheat death once per deployment, and also gain a physical damage reduction once this effect is active. Then let's see her skills. Nothing particularly impressive in her skill 1, but it is her AFK skill. This is the same as La Pluma and Highmore S1, but Entelechia has slightly more damage multiplier. Meanwhile, skill 2 is where things get interesting. This one works similar to Reed Alter skill 2. Entelechia will place a spinning scythe on her position, and to another unit, prioritizing the recently deployed. A good skill to be used against swarms, and should be enough to deal meaningful damage to medium defense enemies. Not only that, since the skill will place one scythe to the recently deployed, it has good synergy with a fast redeploy unit, especially considering this skill also has a pretty quick cycle. And fun little fact, this skill actually synergizes with U skill 3. For her skill 3, she will get plenty of buffs, and also summoning something called Heart Candles. These candles copy the stats of 3 ground enemies with the highest HP within her range, which pretty much acts as another target for Entelechia to hit, and for her to deal additional damage to the enemy who got the candle. Overall a pretty good DPS skill. All in all, Entelechia is a pretty good 6-star. But honestly, I think she is the least worthy unit to get on this list. Though her skill 2 is rather unique, but most of the stuff she provides can be replaced quite easily. Not to mention if you already haven't built Executor Altar, I don't see much reason why you should get her, at least gameplay wise. Okay, after Entelechia, the next new 6-star should be Reed's evil twin sister, Iblana. Now officially called Necrass. Necrass is our first 6-star Shaper caster, with a very strong summon, or servant is what they are called in her case, that can even be used to solo a lane, compared to the only other shaper we can compare right now. Necrass has a slightly lower number of summons she can have on the field. But on the bright side, her talent 1 makes it so that she can upgrade her servants, if no more servants can be called. The upgraded version stats is almost equivalent to a defender, which should be able to tank a good number of damage. And for talent 2, Necrass and her summon will have damage multiplier if they attack an enemy under 50% or 60% HP. Then for her skills. Most are probably just going to use her skill 3. But her other skills are also quite good. In skill 1 her summon will get a passive, where they will deal AoE yards damage every time they appear or upgrade. And the active effect will make Necrass refresh her servants, which means she will reposition them, restoring their HP, and also make use of that passive. If you can get all of her servants to appear close to each other, you should be able to deal significant blows to enemies. The active effect also lets Necrass to summon 1 servant if there's none. Next up, skill 2 will put some enemies to sleep, and those sleeping enemies will gradually get hit by arts damage. And if the target is defeated, Necrass will summon 2 more servants, which means 3 per defeated enemy with this skill. This skill mainly aims to make Necrass summon all of her servants, or upgrade them, in a short amount of time, or by using only a few enemies as a sacrifice for her summon. And I suppose aside from that, the sleep effect could also be useful for stalling. The damage she inflicts to those sleeping enemies is also good. Now the real deal, her skill 3. This skill will change one of her servants to this big guy, which has bigger stats, has a special skill, and can be upgraded more times than her normal servants. This big guy doesn't mess around. If you have him fully upgraded, he is ridiculously tanky, and can deal a significant blow to the enemies, including bosses. Healing him is also relatively easy, as long as there's a steady source of trash mob, and normal summon to be sacrificed. Or you can also use passive healing provided by other operators. And by the way, the active effect of this skill will make Necrass deal AoE yards damage, with massive damage multiplier, which is also used when you need to upgrade or heal the big guy. Overall she's a great 6-star to get. Her only drawbacks are pretty much just this archetype typical drawback, and that is they need a steady source of trash mobs to shine. But trash mobs are a common thing to appear. Besides, with the upgrade feature from her talent, her summon is tougher, which means you don't need to always create a new summon, like in the case of Techno. Next, after Necrass we will have Monster as our next 6-star. Monster is our 6-star chain medic. I know some of you might be disappointed, knowing this archetype is rather underwhelming. But don't worry, thanks to her kit, she is a reliable healer, has valuable support, and is also a good damage dealer. In her talent 1, she already has something to fix one of her archetype issues, by having the ability to deploy what is currently known as Reconstruct, acting as a target for Monster to heal and chain her heal to other operators that her normal range might be unable to reach. Aside that, the Reconstruct also gives attack bonus to everyone around it. And for her talent 2, when she performs a heal, Monster and the target will receive attack speed bonus for a few seconds. But if Monster keep on healing, it pretty much means a permanent buff. Then for her skills. All of her skills are offensive recovery, which is a bad thing if she doesn't have a target to heal. Luckily she will always heal her Reconstruct, so she will charge her skills non-stop. Okay, skill 1 is her AFK skill, where her heal will get a multiplier, and can chain or bounce to another unit. In skill 2, it focuses on enhancing her attack speed buff talent. With this she can heal more effectively, and also boost others' attack speed. Typically to help damage dealers increase their DPS. And this skill is probably the best source attack speed buff we have right now. Lastly we have her skill 3. Instead of healing, this skill focuses on dealing damage. Monster will move swap places with her reconstruct. And start throwing hands. Gaining some big buffs, will heal herself every time she attacks, and most importantly, her attack deals true damage. Without a doubt this skill turned her into one of the best true damage dealers in the game. All things considered, she's a great unit. Who can provide strong healing and support, and is also a reliable source of true damage. Plus if you're into it, she's also one of the most important characters in the game's main story. But keep in mind, Monster's debut banner is right before a limited banner. At least if we follow CN schedule. Alright, after Monster, we will have a new limited banner. Featuring 2 new 6 stars. Exusiai, who is the limited. And her sister Lemuen as the standard 6 star. This was the 6th anniversary event for CN server, so the prediction is that we global dwellers will get this around October. I can say for sure this banner has the highest pull value compared to other banners on this list. The 6 stars are amazing, and offer unique and useful abilities. And the 5 star is also amazing. By the way, we will also get a free 6 star from this event. But right now let's just talk about the gacha operators. Starting with the limited. Exusiai, henceforth referred to as Apple Pie, is our newest 6 star geek specialist. Much like Monster, I suppose some of you might find her abilities questionable, considering her archetype has some pretty bad quirks. But hey, limited don't sell if they have flaw. So the developer decided to rework geek specialist archetype. Now, they lose HP at a slower rate, and their HP won't drop below 0. So they won't get defeated by their own trade. To further mitigate the HP loss, they even give Apple Pie HP recovery in her talent 1. Which will activate every time someone uses ammo and their ammo skills. And yes, all of her skills are also ammo type skill. This talent also comes with another effect. Now everyone with ammo type skill will have a chance to inflict additional AoE damage. In her own case, this thing really helps to improve her damage output and handling crowds. As for her talent 2, Apple Pie will grant attack bonus to anyone with an ammo type skill. And this effect doubled to latter and O operators. I guess you can already tell, she's a really great addition for people who like to use operators with ammunition, especially latter and operators. All of her skills are also amazing. Skill 1 is her AFK skill. Paying homage to her original version, this will make her use her vector and start prioritizing flying enemies, with each hit dealing critical damage. And in skill 2, Apple Pie will steal the attack speed of an allied unit, prioritizing the one with the highest aggro, which typically means the recently deployed. But she won't just take, because she also gives herself and that unit some barrier, which is useful to tank some vicious hits. This skill also inflicts critical damage on every hit. And overall it's a great DPS skill, especially if her talent 1 AoE damage can proc. Additionally, the damage multiplier makes it a great skill to get a buff. Last but not least, her skill 3. She will get attack bonus, now hitting enemies multiple times, and each hit also deals critical damage, which can deal significant blows to armored targets. But you pretty much don't use this skill solely for damage, but the unique ability it offers. You see, this skill can immediately redeploy someone who is waiting for their deployment cooldown. With this skill she can summon this beacon. And when you activate her skill, she will immediately fire AoE attack to that location. And most importantly, deploying an operator who is waiting to be redeployed. Prioritizing someone with the longest redeployment time left. She will also give extra initial SP to that operator, which can turn some operators into a strong heli drop unit, like Ulpianus and Serpa. Overall, she's an amazing unit, who has a great DPS, interesting way of support, and a unique ability to immediately redeploy someone. A worthy limited character that you should get and build. If that's not enough, her sister is also an amazing nuker. So, Lemuen is our newest 6-star Deadeye sniper. In her talent 1, Lemuen can mark all enemies that are inside ladder and no operator's range, including herself. And every marked or wanted enemies will receive more damage from ladder and no operators. Lemuen can also attack all enemies that are being wanted, even if they are not inside her range. Basically giving her a way to have global range. Talent 2 is quite simple, but overall is useful to make the most out of her damage. After some time, she will get a permanent attack bonus, and all of her skills will have 1 extra ammo. And yes, all of her skills are ammo type skills. Speaking of which, she has a good set of skills. Like many others on this list, her skill 1 is an AFK skill. With this, her attack will start dealing critical damage, and can hit 2 targets. The offensive recovery might look bad, but thanks to her module, it can significantly ease her skill charge time. And of course it also applies to her other skills. Meanwhile skill 2 will give her attack and attack speed bonus. And she can do a special charged attack to a wanted target. That is enough to deal significant blows to bosses. And what is interesting is that she will only consume ammo when doing that charged attack. Meaning as long as there's no wanted target, that attack and attack speed buffs are pretty much permanent. Last but not least her skill 3. She will lock on pretty much random enemies that are inside her range. Or those who are wanted. And she will send orbital barrage to their location. Dealing massive AoE damage, which has bigger damage at the center. If you can get all of the bombs in one tile, you can absolutely shred bosses with this. Not to mention it has a relatively quick cycle. So that's apple pie and lemon. Like I mentioned earlier, this limited banner has the biggest pull value compared to other banners on this list. So if you're looking for a banner to dump all of your resources, this might be it. Moving on to the last 6-star on this list. We have Phantom Altar, now officially called Tragodia. Tragodia is our newest 6-star primal caster. And is the first one that specializes in dealing nervous impairment. The new type of elemental injury recently introduced to the game. And is a great unit who can deal significant blows to the enemies with his element damage. But he is an even greater crowd control unit with the brand new paralysis effect. Anyways, let's see his talent. Thanks to his talent 1, his targets and the surrounding enemies will receive nervous impairment build up whenever he's attacking. It is a top tier talent for an element injury focus unit to have, because they don't need to solely rely on their skills to inflict element injury. Meanwhile, talent 2 will lower the attack speed of all enemies under nervous impairment burst. It also has a second effect, where enemies will receive nervous impairment if they do their normal attacks inside Tragodia's range. And for his skills. His skill 1 is an AFK skill, where he will deal damage twice, each dealing critical damage, and also binds the target. And the bound target will also take more nervous impairment. Then his skill 2, which is an infinite duration skill. and is probably the one you will often use. This will give him attack speed bonus, and the ability to summon a black cat to any ground tile on the map. This cat will then lure some enemies to its position. Once an enemy reaches it, it will deal slow, arts damage, and nervous impairment. Overall it's a top tier skill, with a great arts damage, and nervous impairment that is most certainly enough to make enemies trigger the burst state. The lure ability is also unique and very useful. Notably for stalling, screwing up enemy pathing, or even send enemies straight to their death. Lastly, we have his skill 3. This one aims to spam nervous impairment burst to the enemies, which not only makes enemies get element damage again and again, but it also offers a very strong crowd control. Thanks to the paralysis effect from nervous impairment, and also something called Madness Cage, that will spawn whenever someone triggers a nervous impairment burst, and will act as a blocker. All things considered, he is a top tier unit that you should definitely consider to get. Let's just hope your resources doesn't run dry after the limited banner. Well, that's all the upcoming 6 stars from you and Blaze. To Tragodia. Which one will you prioritize? That should be all. Adios.